couple of days ago on the show, I asked the question of what will the Republicans do? There will be a moment of truth for them if Donald Trump actually follows through and fires Sessions and Mueller. Because if he does that and they let him do it, there is some chance that we have lost our checks and balances and what we know to be America. That is not an overstatement. Because if you are under investigation and you're allowed to fire anyone who investigates you, well, that is not our form of government. Our form of government is that the three branches are supposed to check one another, not let the executive branch do whatever they want, whether it's within the law or not within the law. So we now have our first answer as to what Republicans are going to do if we get to that moment of truth. So let me show you Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, Republican senator.
You know, the president has the right to fire anybody in his cabinet. As a human being, I think he should show some respect for Jeff Sessions as a person. Jeff Sessions was the most loyal supporter of Donald Trump. He's a rock-solid conservative. But the reason I like him so much is I often disagree with him, but I've never believed that he was a man who lacks integrity or sense of fair play. This effort to basically marginalize and humiliate the Attorney General is not going over well in the Senate. I don't think it's going over well in the conservative world. If you believe Jeff Sessions should be fired, use the power you have and accept the consequences.
Damn, accept the consequences. So those are strong words there by Lindsey Graham. They're about to get stronger. Wait till you see the second video. So look, this is very interesting development. You're not going to be surprised that Democrats, of course, agree. Senator Blumenthal, who is Democrat, said firing Mueller would, quote, precipitate a firestorm that would be unprecedented in proportions. So, okay, but you really got to take the actual actions. And now it is important to see that conservative media, ranging from Fox News to Breitbart, beginning to say, hey, firing Jeff Sessions is a terrible idea, don't do it. The congressional Republicans have expressed strong support for former FBI Director Robert Mueller. They've also rallied around Sessions, so now you're seeing their legislators. Okay, but what are you actually going to do about it? That brings us to the second thing Lindsey Graham said.
There will be no confirmation hearing for a new Attorney General in 2017. If Jeff Sessions is fired, there will be holy hell to pay. Any effort to go after Mueller could be the beginning of the end of the Trump presidency, unless Mueller did something wrong.
Now we're having a conversation. So he's saying, we're not confirming anyone else. Jeff Sessions is your Attorney General. You want to fire him? Fire him, face the consequences, but we're not putting in a new Attorney General. And then the second comment is even stronger. You fire Mueller and it is the beginning of the end for you. That is a Republican senator from South Carolina. Now, he's not the end all be all, and he has tweaked Donald Trump more often than other Republican senators, but now Chuck Grassley, Ben Sasse from Nebraska, and others are coming out and saying, yeah, no, that's a terrible idea to fire Sessions, and if you fire Mueller, game on. And you know Republicans, you never know. They could circle the wagons and protect him anyway, but it will definitely be their moment of truth, because if you let him fire Mueller, that means he can do anything he wants. Forget past crimes, he can do future crimes, and he just put his cronies in and he'll never be held accountable. Again, not our system of government, but it's not just words. Lindsey Graham also took some action. So let me go to the Associated Press for this. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is working on legislation that would block the firing of special counsels without judicial review. Now they should pass that immediately, and if you believe in American democracy, that is exactly the right law, and I don't say that about the legislation the Republicans offer very often. Well, that one is absolutely right. So you block Trump from being able to fire the person who's actually investigating him. If they don't do that and he does fire him, and maybe that's why Trump's in a bit of a panic here. He's got to go right now to fire these people. Now, if you didn't do it, would you be in that same panic? Or would you think, what's the difference? You know, they can investigate, and if they get out of hand, then my Republican senators will agree with me that they're going in the wrong direction. But if you have something to cover up, you're going to want to fire those guys before they pass this legislation. And now they're saying, well, if you do, the beginning of the end. We'll see. Interesting times. If you like this video, you'll love the whole TYT network. Check it out at tytnetwork.com/join.